A Werewolf Shifter Romance, written by Amelia Hart. Chapter 1. The Breaking. The scent of lilies fills the preparation room, their white petals pristine against dark wood. I stare at my reflection in the mirror, barely recognizing the woman looking back. The ivory dress fits perfectly, traditional lace cascading down my arms in patterns that took some seamstress weeks to complete. My dark brown hair has been curled and pinned, my face painted with makeup I never wear. I look beautiful. I look like a bride. I look like a sacrifice. My name is Juliet Harlow. Jules to the few people I trust, though that number has dwindled to almost nothing in the past 3 weeks. I'm 26 years old, a registered nurse at Seattle General Hospital, and in 30 minutes, I'm supposed to pledge my life to a man I fear more than death itself. The door is locked from the outside. They think I might run. They're right. 3 weeks ago, my father died. James Harlow, alpha of Harlow Creek Pack for 23 years, gone in a car accident that nobody questioned but everyone should have. The brakes failed on a mountain road he'd driven 1,000 times, sending his truck over a cliff in broad daylight. My uncle Raymond took over as alpha within 24 hours, and within 72, he'd announced my engagement to Graham Sutton, alpha of Sutton Ridge Pack, to seal an alliance I was never consulted about. I've worked as a nurse for 4 years now. Overnight shifts mostly in the emergency department where I learned to stay calm when everything is falling apart. I've held pressure on wounds that should have been fatal, talked down patients high on drugs they can't even name, cleaned up more blood than most people see in a lifetime. I thought I understood trauma. I thought I understood fear. I was wrong. 2 weeks ago, a woman came into the emergency room barely clinging to life. She was Shifter, though she tried desperately to hide it from the human staff. I could smell it on her beneath the copper tang of blood, that wild, earthy scent we all carry. The beating she'd endured was methodical, almost surgical in its precision. Broken ribs, ruptured spleen, contusions that mapped across her body in patterns that spoke of restraints and repetition. Dr. Hale worked on her for 3 hours. Owen's good at his job, one of the best trauma surgeons in the state. But some injuries go too deep. When he finally called it, when we had to step back and watch the monitors flatline, I was the one who stayed to clean her up, to give her some dignity in death. That's when she grabbed my wrist. Her eyes flew open, milky and unfocused, but her grip was iron. She pulled me down close enough that I could feel her final breaths against my ear. "Sutton," she whispered, voice like gravel scraping against stone. "He does experiments on us. Don't let him take you." Then she was gone. Truly gone. And I was left standing there with her words burning into my brain. I spent the next week digging through hospital records I had no business accessing. I have friends in medical records, in the coroner's office, people who owe me favors or share cigarettes on the roof during breaks. 7 women, all shifters, all dead in the past 5 years within a 200-mile radius. The official causes varied: animal attacks, hiking accidents, exposure. But when I looked at the autopsy reports, the injuries told a different story. Torture, medical torture, systematic trauma consistent with prolonged captivity. And every single one of them had some documented connection to Sutton Ridge territory or Graham Sutton's political events. 10 days ago, I broke into Raymond's office in the dead of night. My uncle lives alone in the Alpha's house, the home where I grew up, the place that should have passed to me if our pack recognized female leadership. The security code was still my father's birthday. Raymond was too lazy or too arrogant to change it. I found the emails in his personal files, printed and filed away because he's paranoid about digital surveillance. Bank transfers for $500,000 from an offshore account. Coded messages referencing merchandise delivery and agreed timeline, and most damning forwarded communications about Project Lichen, about an installation in Idaho, about GeneTech Solutions, a pharmaceutical company I'd never heard of but whose name made my stomach turn. This wasn't an alliance, it was a transaction. Raymond had sold me to Graham Sutton for $500,000, and whatever political favors came with it. So I planned. I printed copies of everything, photographed documents with my phone in airplane mode so the digital trail couldn't be traced. I bought camping supplies with cash, packed a waterproof duffel bag with clothes, my hunting knife from when I was a teenager, energy bars, a first aid kit, all the money I'd saved from my nursing salary. 3 days ago, I hiked into the forest surrounding this ceremonial compound and buried that bag 200 yards from the tree line, marked with 3 stones I could find even in the dark. If I was going to run, I'd run prepared. A knock at the door makes my heart lurch into my throat. The magistrata enters without waiting for permission, Vivian Cross, ancient and neutral. She's overseen mating ceremonies for longer than I've been alive, ensures the old laws are followed, that neither pack can claim foul play afterward. Her eyes are kind but distant as they sweep over me, taking in the dress, the trembling in my hands I can't quite hide. "It's time, child," she says, voice gentle but firm. I stand on legs that threaten to buckle. The door opens wider and I can hear them now. The gathered witnesses, the low hum of conversation, someone's nervous laugh cut short. The dress whispers against hardwood floors as I follow Vivian down a corridor lined with photographs of past ceremonies, couples frozen in moments of joy I will never feel. The corridor opens into the ceremony space, a clearing surrounded by towering pines, the Cascade Mountains rising in the distance sharp and indifferent. Late afternoon sun slants through the trees, painting everything in shades of gold that feel mocking. Witnesses from 3 packs stand in a circle around the ceremonial altar. Harlow Creek, my people, looking anywhere but at me. Sutton Ridge, Graham's wolves, hungry and expectant. And Frost Peak, the neutral party. That's when I see him. Alpha Declan Frost stands near the altar, arms crossed over a dark suit, expression carved from stone. I know of him, of course. Everyone in the Northwestern Territory knows about the CEO who runs a private security empire worth millions while leading one of the strongest packs in Washington. Tall, probably 6'3", broad-shouldered, dark hair cut short in a style that belongs in boardrooms and battlefields equally. Eyes the color of winter ice, sharp and assessing. He's 32 and has never taken a mate, which makes him either impossibly selective or carrying damage too deep to share. His presence here is required by law, neutral witness to ensure neither pack violates ceremony protocols, that everything is done according to tradition. Those ice-blue eyes track me as I walk the aisle between witnesses. Something flickers across his face, too fast to identify, but I feel it in my gut. A pull, a recognition, something I don't have time to examine because Graham is waiting. Alpha Graham Sutton stands at the altar looking every inch the powerful leader he pretends to be. 35, handsome in a calculated way, blonde hair swept back from a face that belongs on campaign posters and magazine covers. Amber eyes track my approach with satisfaction that makes my skin crawl. He's a state senator in the human world, respected and influential, the kind of man who shakes hands with governors and signs legislation that affects millions. Nobody would believe what I know about him. That's exactly what makes him so dangerous. He smiles as I stop across from him, and I have to fight the urge to shift right there, to let my wolf tear through flesh and run. "Juliet," he says, voice carrying across the clearing. "You look exquisite." I say nothing. Can't trust my voice not to shake. The magistrata begins the ritual, words as old as our kind, binding and sacred. She speaks of partnership and strength, of 2 packs becoming one through the joining of 2 souls. The words wash over me, meaningless sounds, while my mind races through options I don't have. Blood binding, they call this final step. Once complete, we're tied for life. His pack becomes mine. His authority becomes law over me. His will supersedes my own in all pack matters. The ceremonial knife appears in Vivian's aged hands, the silver blade catching afternoon light, throwing it back sharp enough to hurt. She'll make small cuts on our palms, press them together, speak the final words that seal the bond. After that, there's no escape. The mate bond can only be broken by death. Graham extends his hand, confident, entitled, already certain of his victory. The magistrata raises the blade toward my palm, and I make my choice. The shift tears through me before I can second guess, before fear can freeze me in place. Bone and muscle reshape with a violence that would hurt if I wasn't running on pure adrenaline. My dress shreds as fur erupts across my skin in waves of gray and silver. I hear gasps, shouts, the magistrata stumbling backward. The altar crashes as my wolf form barrels through it, white lilies scattering across dirt and stone. My paws hit earth and I run, driving toward the tree line with every ounce of strength I possess. Behind me, chaos erupts. Graham's roar of fury, Raymond's shouted commands. But I'm already gone, crashing through underbrush, following a path I memorized days ago during my reconnaissance. 300 yards into the forest, marked by 3 flat stones, I find the cache. Shift back to human, hands shaking violently as I yank on jeans, sports bra, dark jacket, boots laced tight. The phone goes in my pocket, still in airplane mode. The knife straps to my belt. The printed documents I leave buried, too bulky, and I have digital copies stored. Voices echo through the trees, closer than they should be. They're coming. I run again, human now, following the river that marks the southern edge of Sutton Ridge territory. My nursing training kicks in. Steady breathing, controlled pace, conservation of energy for the long haul. 20 miles to the Frost Peak border. If I can make it there, maybe neutrality will buy me time. Maybe I'll have a chance to expose what Graham really is before he drags me to Idaho and I become just another name in a medical examiner's file. As I disappear into the deepening shadows, I think about the woman who died in my arms 2 weeks ago, about the 7 names I found in morgue records, about all the women who didn't escape, who trusted the wrong people, who believed the system would protect them. I'm not running from a wedding. I'm running from becoming Subject 13 in a laboratory of horrors. And I won't stop running until either I'm free or I'm dead. Chapter 2. The Hunt. By the time dawn breaks, I've covered nearly 20 miles through Sutton Ridge territory. My legs scream with every step, muscles burning from the pace I've maintained through the night. The river guides me, its constant murmur a lifeline in the darkness that surrounds me on all sides. I stop at a bend where the current pools, the water clearer here, surrounded by river stones worn smooth over centuries. My hands shake as I kneel, cupping water to my mouth, the cold shocking against my throat. Then I start gathering plants. Sage grows wild near the bank, mint clusters between rocks, and I dig my fingers into mud that smells of earth and decay. My nursing background never covered how to hide from shifters, but I paid attention during pack training when I was younger, before Raymond decided I was more useful as a bargaining chip than a member. Crush the sage, the mint, mix them with river mud until my hands are coated. I spread the paste across my neck, my wrists, anywhere my scent glands are strongest. It won't fool them completely, but it might buy me time. The gash on my leg throbs where I went down hard in a ravine about 3 hours ago. I'd been running full out, not watching my footing, and the ground just disappeared. The fall wasn't far, but the landing was brutal. My shin connecting with a sharp rock that tore through denim and skin. I wash it now in the river, biting my lip against the sting, then tear strips from the bottom of my shirt to bind it. The bleeding has mostly stopped, but infection is a real risk. I'll need antibiotics soon. Proper cleaning. Stitches probably. If I survive long enough to worry about it. The cabin appears as the sun clears the mountains, light spilling across a structure that looks abandoned. Windows dark, porch sagging on one side. It's right on the edge of what I calculate is Frost Peak territory, maybe 100 yards from the border. Hunter's shelter, probably, used seasonally, and forgotten the rest of the year. The door is unlocked, hinges groaning as I slip inside. Dust coats every surface, animal droppings in the corners, but there's a wood stove and a cot with a stained mattress. More importantly, there are walls. Cover. A place to think. I collapse onto the cot, every muscle protesting. My phone shows 6:47 a.m. I've been running for almost 14 hours. I allow myself 5 minutes to close my eyes, just 5 minutes to let my body rest. A sound jerks me awake. Footsteps on the porch, too heavy to be an animal. My hand finds the knife at my belt as I roll off the cot, pressing my back against the wall beside the door. Through a gap in the wood, I see him. Alpha Declan Frost stands on the porch, alone, head tilted as if listening. He's changed from the suit, now wearing dark tactical pants, a fitted shirt that shows the breadth of his shoulders, boots made for terrain, not boardrooms. Those ice blue eyes scan the cabin's exterior with the focus of a predator. He found me. Somehow, despite the plants, despite the distance, despite everything, he found me. "I know you're in there," he calls, voice carrying without shouting. "And I know you're armed. I'm not here to drag you back. I don't move. Don't breathe. Could be a trick. Juliet Harlow," he continues, hands visible, empty, held slightly away from his body. "I'm alone. I just want to talk. You're not the threat here. Graham Sutton is." Something in his tone, the way he says Graham's name with an edge of distaste, makes me hesitate. I shift position, knife still gripped tight, and push the door open a few inches. "How did you find me?" His eyes lock on mine through the gap, and something passes between us, electric and undeniable. He feels it too. I can see it in the way his posture changes, becomes almost protective. "You masked your scent," he says slowly. "It worked. Graham's trackers lost you 10 miles back. Raymond's pack is searching to the east. But I didn't track your scent. Then how?" He looks away, jaw tightening. "I don't know. I just knew which direction to go. Every time I thought I'd lost the trail, something pulled me forward." His gaze returns to mine. "I felt you. That shouldn't be possible, but I did. Mate bond." The words hang unspoken between us, terrifying and impossible to ignore. I open the door wider, knife still raised. "You said you're not here to take me back. Then why are you here?" "Because something is wrong. You don't destroy a mating ceremony without a damn good reason." He takes a step closer, stops when I tense. "Tell me why you ran." Before I can answer, before I can decide if I trust this alpha I barely know, the image of that night in the cabin flashed through my mind. The quiet moment when Declan had told me about his sister Lily. I already knew her name, but hearing it again now, tied to evidence of torture, hit me harder than before. I hear them. Wolves, multiple, moving through the forest from the south. The wind shifts and their scents hit me all at once. Sutton Ridge pack members, 3 of them, closing in fast. Declan hears them too. His head snaps toward the sound, body coiling with tension. Then he moves, faster than I expect, stepping into the cabin and closing the door behind him. He shrugs off his jacket, holds it out. "Put this on. Now." "What?" "Your scent. The plants are wearing off, and they're close. My scent is stronger. It'll confuse them." His voice drops, becomes pure alpha command. "Do it." I grab the jacket, yank it on. It's huge on me, warm from his body heat, and smells like pine and winter air and something distinctly him. The scent wraps around me, foreign and overwhelming. Declan moves to the door, opens it, steps out onto the porch as 3 wolves burst from the tree line. They shift mid-run, becoming men, all beta rank based on their body language. I recognize them as Graham's. I've seen them at pack gatherings, always hovering near their alpha, always watching. "Alpha Frost," the lead one says, slightly breathless. He's tall, scarred across one cheek, eyes that hold too much intelligence. "Have you seen the Harlow girl? She came through here." Declan's posture is pure authority, the kind that makes lesser wolves submit without thought. "I swept this area an hour ago. No sign of her. She must have crossed into Frost Peak territory." The scarred beta steps closer, nostrils flaring. "With respect, Alpha, I smell—" "You smell me," Declan interrupts, voice dropping to something dangerous. "I've been tracking through this area for hours. If you're questioning my word, say so clearly." The 3 betas exchange glances. Challenging an alpha, especially one as powerful as Declan Frost, isn't done lightly. The scarred one backs down first, dropping his gaze. "No disrespect intended. We'll continue north." They shift, loping away into the forest, and I watch through the window as they disappear. My heart hammers against my ribs, the knife still clutched in my white-knuckled grip. Declan waits a full minute before coming back inside. He looks at me, really looks, taking in the torn clothes, the makeshift bandage on my leg, the exhaustion I can't hide. "You need medical attention. I'm a nurse. I can handle it. You need rest, and you need safety." He pulls a first aid kit from a pocket I didn't see, sets it on the rough table. Let me see your leg. I shouldn't trust him. I shouldn't trust anyone. But he just lied to Graham's betas, just put himself between me and pursuit, and something in my gut says he's not the enemy here. I sit, extending my leg. He kneels, unwrapping my makeshift bandage with careful hands, examining the gash with a clinical eye. 6 inches long, deep but clean. You're lucky. Lucky, I repeat, the word tasting bitter. His hands work efficiently, cleaning the wound with antiseptic that stings sharp enough to make me hiss. Why did you run, Juliet? Jules, I correct automatically. Only my father called me Juliet. Something softens in his expression. Jules, then. Why run? I watch him bandage my leg properly. Military-grade supplies. The kind that belongs in war zones, not hunting cabins. You said Graham Sutton is the threat. Why do you believe that? He sits back on his heels, those winter eyes meeting mine. 5 years ago, my sister Lily disappeared. She was 22, about to graduate from university. She went to a political summit in Sutton Ridge, one of Graham's networking events. He said she ran away with some human boyfriend, but Lily would never abandon me without a word. I've been searching ever since. The air leaves my lungs. Lily Frost. I've heard the name, heard the story of the Alpha's missing sister, but I never connected it to Graham until now. I found a pattern, I hear myself saying. 7 women, all shifters, all dead in the past 5 years, medical torture, all of them connected to Sutton Ridge somehow. Declan goes very still. 7? Maybe more. Those are just the ones I could confirm. I pull up my jacket, his jacket, exposing the phone in my pocket. I have photos, evidence. That's why Raymond sold me to Graham. That's why I ran. He'll kill you if he catches you, Declan says quietly. Or worse. I know. I meet his gaze. That's why I'm not stopping at the border. I'm disappearing. Going somewhere they'll never find me. He stands, and I expect him to try to stop me, to argue. Instead, he extends his hand. Come to my territory. 48 hours of sanctuary. You show me what you found, and I'll help you investigate. If Graham is doing what you say, if he's connected to Lily's disappearance, then we need proof. Real proof, the kind that brings him down permanently. And if I refuse, his expression doesn't change, then I'll watch you walk away and hope you make it. But Jules, he pauses. You felt it too, didn't you? When our eyes met at the ceremony, the mate bond, the pull I've been trying to ignore since I saw him standing by that altar. I felt it, I admit, but I don't care about destiny right now. I care about survival. Then let me help you survive. His hand remains extended. 48 hours. Then you choose what comes next. I stare at that hand, at the strength in it, at the protection it offers. Every instinct screams that trusting anyone is suicide, but staying alone is suicide too. I take his hand. 48 hours, I agree. Then I'm gone. We leave the cabin as the sun climbs higher, heading north together into Frost Peak territory. Behind us, I can hear the distant howls of Graham's pack, still hunting. But for now, with Declan Frost's scent covering mine and his steady presence beside me, I feel something I haven't felt since my father died. I feel like maybe I might survive this after all. Chapter 3. Uncovering Truth. The drive into Seattle takes 6 hours through mountain passes and winding roads that eventually give way to urban sprawl. Declan's truck is nondescript, black and well-maintained, with tinted windows that hide me from curious eyes. We don't talk much during the drive. I'm too exhausted. He's too focused on checking mirrors, making sure we're not followed. By the time we pull into an underground parking garage beneath a glass and steel building in downtown Seattle, I'm half asleep against the window. My leg throbbed like fire under my jeans. Every step sent pain lancing through me, a reminder that running 20 miles on a half-healed wound wasn't something even a nurse could shrug off. The sign above the entrance reads, Frost Security Solutions, in clean modern letters. This is your company, I say, not a question. We provide security for corporations, government contracts, personal protection. It's legitimate. He parks in a spot marked Reserved, Frost. Also makes a convenient cover for pack business. The elevator takes us to the 15th floor, doors opening onto a lobby that smells like expensive leather and coffee. A receptionist looks up, starts to greet Declan, then sees me and stops mid-word. I'm aware of how I must look. Torn clothes, bruises darkening on my arms, hair tangled with leaves and mud. Mr. Frost. I didn't know you were bringing... Clear my schedule for the rest of the day, Declan says, voice all business. And let Connor know I need him in the conference room, now. We move through hallways lined with offices, some occupied, most empty this late in the afternoon. The conference room he leads me into has floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. A long table, screens built into the walls. It's the kind of space where million-dollar deals get made, and lives get changed with the stroke of a pen. I sink into one of the leather chairs, suddenly aware of how much I'm bleeding through the bandage on my leg. A dark stain is spreading across my jeans. Declan notices. We need to get that looked at properly. I told you, I'm a nurse. The door bursts open and a woman with short red hair and a face full of freckles rushes in. She stops when she sees me, and her mouth drops open. Jules? I recognize her instantly. Ivy? Ivy Frost closes the distance between us in 3 strides, pulling me into a hug so tight it hurts. We were friends once, before everything fell apart, before Raymond isolated me from anyone who might have helped. She's 28 now, Declan's beta, one of the strongest female wolves in the territory. I thought, when Raymond announced... She pulls back, hands on my shoulders, eyes fierce. I tried to reach you. He blocked all contact. I know. My throat tightens. I'm sorry I didn't... Don't apologize. Just tell me you're okay. A man enters behind her, tall and lean with an expression that manages to be both serious and perpetually amused. Connor Reed, based on the way Declan nods at him. He's 30, moves with the confidence of a trained fighter, and his eyes take in the situation with sharp intelligence. This is the runaway bride, he observes. Bold move, destroying a ceremony. Graham must be losing his mind. Good, I say flatly. Declan moves to the table, pulls out his laptop. Jules has information. About Graham. About multiple deaths. He looks at me. Show them. I pull out my phone, hands steadier now that I'm surrounded by something that feels close to safety. The photos load, screen after screen of documents, emails, bank transfers. I spread them across the table's surface, projecting them onto the screen so everyone can see. This is what I found in Raymond's office. I point to the banking records. $500,000 transferred from an offshore account registered to a shell company. I traced it back. The company is owned by GeneTech Solutions. Connor leans forward, fingers flying across his own laptop. GeneTech Solutions. Pharmaceutical research company based in Boise, Idaho. CEO is Malcolm Reed, a shifter with known ties to Graham Sutton. He pauses. They have a secondary facility listed in rural Idaho. Remote location, minimal oversight. Ivy's studying the emails, her expression darkening with each line she reads. Project Lichen, merchandise delivery, agreed timeline. She looks up at me. He was buying you. Raymond sold me, I correct. Graham paid for the privilege of whatever he's doing in Idaho. Declan's jaw is tight, controlled fury radiating from him in waves. You said you found a pattern. 7 deaths. I pull up different photos, my nursing records documentation. I started looking after a woman died in my ER 2 weeks ago. Before she went, she told me Graham Sutton does experiments on shifters. So I dug through records, cross-referenced with shifter deaths in the region. The photos show autopsy reports, redacted in places but still readable. 7 women, all between ages 20 and 30, all shifters. Official causes of death were accidents or animal attacks. But the injuries don't match. They're consistent with prolonged medical torture, systematic trauma, extraction wounds. Extraction? Ivy's voice has gone very quiet. Blood, tissue, bone marrow. Samples taken repeatedly over extended periods. I've seen enough trauma in the ER to recognize patterns. These women were kept alive while someone harvested parts of them. The room goes silent. Connor stops typing. Ivy's hands are shaking. Declan's voice cuts through the tension. Where were they found? All within 200 miles of Sutton Ridge territory. But here's the thing. I only found 7 confirmed deaths. When I accessed the missing persons database for shifters, there are 5 more women who disappeared in the same time frame. Never found. Alive or dead. I meet his gaze. Your sister Lily. She's one of them. Something breaks in Declan's expression. Carefully controlled emotion cracking just enough for me to see the pain underneath. If they were never found, they might still be alive. At that facility in Idaho, Connor says, already pulling up satellite images. If Graham is running experiments, that's where he'd keep them. Remote, off the grid. Perfect for something you don't want discovered. Ivy's looking at the screen, her face pale. 12 women total. 7 dead, 5 missing. If they're alive and being held there, she doesn't finish the sentence. She doesn't have to. Declan pulls up additional files. His own research. Records I haven't seen. I've been investigating Graham for years, trying to find anything that would lead me to Lily. But he's careful. Covers his tracks. Uses his political position to stay clean. This is the first real evidence I've seen. He turns to me. How did you get past Raymond's security? I know his patterns. I grew up in that house. I don't mention the fear, the way my hands shook while I photographed documents, certain any moment he'd walk in and catch me. He's lazy, arrogant. Didn't change the security codes. Connor whistles low. Breaking into an alpha's office to steal evidence. That's either really brave or really stupid. Both, I admit. Declan's studying the satellite images of the Idaho facility now, tactical mind clearly working through scenarios. We need more than this. Photos of documents aren't enough to bring down a state senator. We need concrete proof, physical evidence, witnesses. The women, Ivy says. If they're alive, if we can get them out, their testimony assumes we can find them and extract them without starting a war. Connor zooms in on the facility. That compound is secure. Fencing, guard rotations, probably electronic surveillance. We'd need a team. But first, we need to know exactly what we're walking into, Declan says. He pulls up another screen. This one showing an event calendar. Graham's hosting a business reception tomorrow night at his estate. Semi-private, about 80 guests, mix of human investors and shifter allies. Security will be lighter than usual because he can't afford to look paranoid in front of his human contacts. You want to break into his house, I say slowly. During a party. I want to break into his private office during a party, Declan corrects. He's paranoid enough to keep the really incriminating evidence off digital networks. If there are detailed records about the Idaho facility, layouts, security protocols, exactly who's being held there, they'll be in that office. Ivy nods slowly. My company provides security for his events sometimes. I can get us on the contractor list. Jules goes in as catering staff. Declan continues, the plan clearly forming as he speaks. Connor and I will be there as additional security. We infiltrate the office, grab everything we can, get out before anyone notices. I should argue. Should say this is insane. That breaking into an alpha's home is suicide. But I'm thinking about that woman in my ER. About 7 bodies in morgues. About Lily Frost somewhere in the dark for 5 years. When do we leave? I ask instead. Declan looks at me. Something shifting in his expression. Tomorrow evening. Until then, you're staying here. Safe house on the top floor. Secure. No one gets in without my authorization. He stands. Ivy, get her set up with clothes, supplies, whatever she needs. Connor, I need full security workup on Graham's estate. Guard rotations, camera placements, exit strategies. They move to follow orders. But I stay seated, looking at this alpha who just went from neutral observer to active participant in exposing one of the most powerful wolves in the territory. Why are you doing this? I ask. You could have handed me over. Stayed neutral. Protected your position. Declan pauses at the door. Those winter eyes meeting mine. Because my wolf told me you were worth protecting the moment you shifted at that ceremony. Because 7 women are dead, and 5 more might be suffering. And because if there's even a chance my sister is alive in that facility, I'll burn down everything to get her back. He leaves, Connor following. Ivy stays, settling into the chair next to mine. He's been looking for Lily for 5 years, she says quietly. Never stopped, never gave up. It's destroyed him slowly, not knowing. She takes my hand. You gave him something he hasn't had in a long time. Hope. I look at our joined hands. At this friend I thought I'd lost. I gave him evidence. That's not the same thing, isn't it? Ivy squeezes gently. Come on, let's get you cleaned up, fed, and into a real bed. Tomorrow's going to be complicated. She's right. Tomorrow we break into an alpha's home to steal evidence that might bring down a state senator and expose a laboratory of horrors. Tomorrow everything changes. But tonight, for the first time in 3 weeks, I'm not running. I'm not alone. And maybe, just maybe, I'm not helpless anymore either. Chapter 4. Into the Lion's Den. Graham Sutton's estate sprawls across 10 acres of manicured grounds on the outskirts of Seattle. The kind of property that screams old money and political power. The mansion itself is a blend of modern architecture and classical design, all glass and stone, lit up against the evening sky. Cars line the circular driveway, Mercedes, Teslas, BMWs, the vehicles of people who make decisions that affect thousands of lives and never lose sleep over it. I adjust the white serving shirt Ivy provided, checking my reflection in the van's side mirror one last time. My hair is pulled back in a tight bun, minimal makeup, designed to be forgettable. Just another member of the catering staff, invisible among the servers who'll circulate through rooms carrying trays of champagne and hors d'oeuvres. Earpiece check. Connor's voice crackles through the tiny device hidden in my ear. Jules, tap twice if you can hear me. I tap the piece twice. Across the parking area designated for service vehicles, I can see Declan and Connor in their security uniforms, black suits with discreet earpieces, blending in with the other protection personnel Graham hired for the evening. Frost Security won the contract, just as Ivy predicted. Graham's too arrogant to suspect anything. Remember, Declan's voice comes through, low and controlled. You have 90 minutes after Graham starts his welcome speech. That's when he'll be most distracted, focused on his human guests. Get to the office, photograph everything, get out. I know the plan, I murmur, pretending to adjust my collar so my lips don't move, obviously. The other catering staff are gathering near the service entrance, and I join them, falling into line. We're given quick instructions by the event coordinator, a sharp-eyed woman with a clipboard who looks like she could organize an invasion, then sent inside through the kitchen. The mansion's interior is exactly what I expected. Expensive, tasteful, designed to impress. Marble floors, artwork that probably costs more than most people make in a year. Furniture arranged in conversation clusters throughout rooms sized for entertaining. 80 guests mingle in the main hall, a mix I can identify by scent. 60% human, 40% shifter. The humans are politicians, business executives, investors. The shifters are Graham's allies, alphas and betas from packs he's bought or intimidated into submission. I pick up a tray of champagne flutes and start circulating, keeping my head down, my scent masked with the perfume all the servers are wearing. Just another human staffer. No one looks twice. Graham holds court near the center of the room, surrounded by admirers, looking every inch the successful senator. His amber eyes scan the crowd, calculating, measuring. He's in his element here, playing both worlds, human and shifter, like instruments he's mastered. Raymond is here too, I realize with a jolt. My uncle stands near the windows, drink in hand, laughing too loudly at something another alpha said. He looks nervous, keeps touching his tie, adjusting his jacket. Good. He should be nervous. Target acquired. I whisper into my collar. Graham is center room, Raymond near the west windows. Copy, Declan responds. I have visual on both. You're clear to proceed on my mark. I continue serving, watching, waiting. The coordinator herds the guests toward the main hall where a small stage has been set up. Graham's welcome speech, right on schedule. He takes the microphone, all charm and practiced sincerity, thanking everyone for coming, talking about partnerships and future opportunities. The words wash over me. Meaningless corporate speak designed to make people feel important while revealing nothing. Now, Declan's voice commands. I slip away from the main hall, moving through corridors I memorized from the blueprints Connor pulled. The office is on the second floor, east wing, private section where guests aren't supposed to wander. I take a service staircase. Footsteps silent on carpeted stairs. Heart hammering against my ribs. The hallway is empty. Surveillance cameras positioned at both ends. Connor's supposed to have looped the feeds, giving me a window where I'm invisible to whoever's monitoring security. I have to trust that he succeeded. The office door is locked, electronic keypad glowing red. I pull the bobby pin from my hair, the one I modified earlier with a thin strip of metal. It's a trick I learned as a teenager, breaking into places I shouldn't have been. The lock is more sophisticated than my father's old office, but the principle is the same. Apply pressure, find the catch point, manipulate the mechanism. 30 seconds. The lock clicks. The door opens. Graham's private office is smaller than I expected, but every surface speaks of controlled power. Dark wood desk, leather chairs, bookshelves lined with legal texts and political biographies. A safe is built into the wall behind a painting, and for a moment my heart sinks. There's no way I'm cracking that. Then I see the desk. Papers scattered across it, a laptop open and running. He left it all accessible, too confident in his own security, too arrogant to imagine anyone would dare infiltrate his inner sanctum. I pull out my phone, start photographing. Financial records, correspondence marked private and confidential, maps with locations marked in red. A folder labeled Project Lichen sits near the laptop, and I flip it open with shaking hands. The contents steal my breath. Detailed documentation, clinical reports, photographs that make my stomach turn. 12 women, each with their own file. Identification photos that must have been taken when they were first captured. Some look defiant, others terrified. All of them look like they know exactly what's about to happen to them. Subject 04, Lily Frost. Age 22 at time of acquisition. High genetic compatibility. Viable for prolonged extraction. I photograph every page, hands moving automatically while my mind screams. The clinical language, the casual way they discuss harvesting bone marrow, extracting blood samples, testing pain thresholds. These aren't medical records. They're torture documentation. A map shows the Idaho facility in detail. Security layout, guard rotations, the underground level where subjects are held. I photograph it all, page after page. Evidence that could bring down not just Graham, but everyone involved in this nightmare. Jules. Declan's voice cuts through my focus. Urgent. Someone just left the main hall, heading for the second floor. I keep photographing, racing through the remaining documents. Almost done, just need... The door opens. Graham stands in the doorway, and for a frozen moment we just stare at each other. Then his expression transforms from surprise to cold fury. Juliet Harlow. My name sounds like a curse in his mouth. You should have accepted your fate quietly. Running only delayed the inevitable. I grab the folder, back away from the desk. My hand finds the knife strapped to my belt, hidden under the server's shirt. I know about the experiments, I say, voice steadier than I feel. About the women. About Lily Frost. His smile is worse than his anger. Then you know too much. He didn't expect me to fight back. The silver blade sliced his arm before he even processed the motion. For once, I wasn't the one being rescued. I was the one surviving. The folder scattered, papers flying, but my phone was secure in my pocket with all the photos. Then the door burst open. Declan appearing not as a savior, but as reinforcement. I slash with the knife, catching his arm. Silver blade. The cut burns him, makes him hiss. But he's an alpha, stronger, faster, and I'm already exhausted from running for days. He catches my wrist, squeezes until bones grind. The knife falls. He slams me against the bookshelf, books tumbling down around us, his hand around my throat. You'll make an excellent subject 13, he says, voice conversational despite the fury in his eyes. I've been developing new extraction protocols. They require extended testing. The door explodes inward, not opens, explodes, wood splintering as Declan tears it from its hinges with bare hands. The roar that comes from him is pure alpha rage, a sound that makes Graham freeze and my wolf respond with desperate recognition. Declan crosses the room in 3 strides, grabs Graham by the throat, throws him away from me. I collapse, gasping, watching as they collide in a fury of tooth and claw. They're both partially shifted, the kind of control that lets them fight without fully transforming, without violating the veil by exposing their nature to humans below. Graham fights dirty, goes for Declan's eyes, his throat, but Declan fights with the skill of someone who's been training for war his entire life. He blocks, counters, drives Graham back against the wall hard enough to crack plaster. "She's mine," Declan snarls, and I feel it. The mate bond, fully formed now, undeniable. "You touch her again, I'll kill you." Connor appears in the doorway, takes in the situation in a second. We have company. Graham's betas are responding. I force myself upright, shove scattered papers back into the folder, grab additional files from the desk. My throat aches where Graham choked me, but adrenaline keeps me moving. "Fire alarm," Connor says, pulling something from his belt. He smashes the emergency alarm in the hallway. Immediately, sirens wail. Sprinklers activate. Chaos erupts from downstairs. Shouts, confusion. The sounds of 80 people evacuating in panic. Graham tries to take advantage of Declan's distraction, lunges with claws extended. Declan catches his arm, twists, and I hear bones snap. Graham screams. "Move!" Declan orders me. "Now!" I run, clutching the folder and files, Connor leading the way through smoke from sprinklers and confusion. We hit the service stairs, take them 2 at a time. Behind us, I hear Graham shouting orders, but the building evacuation covers our escape. We burst out through the kitchen exit where staff are streaming out in disorder. Declan's hand finds mine, pulls me toward the parking area. Raymond appears from the crowd, sees me, his face transforming with recognition and rage. He moves to intercept, but Connor steps in his path. My uncle is alpha, should be stronger, but Connor moves with brutal efficiency, a punch to the solar plexus that folds Raymond in half, then a strike to the back of his head that drops him like a stone. He was drunk, distracted, never saw it coming. "Truck now," Declan commands, and we run. The black truck is where we left it, keys already in Connor's hand. We pile in, Declan driving, me in the passenger seat clutching stolen evidence, Connor in the back monitoring his phone. "Graham's calling the magistrata," Connor reports as we peel out of the lot, joining the stream of vehicles evacuating the false fire emergency. "He's demanding an emergency tribunal of alphas, accusing you of invasion, assault, violation of neutrality." "Let him," Declan says grimly, eyes on the road. "We have what we need." I look down at the folder in my lap, at the files that document horrors I can barely process. 12 women, 5 years of torture. A laboratory hidden in Idaho where monsters wear human faces and call themselves scientists. "We have evidence," I say quietly. "Now we need to get those women out." Declan's hand finds mine on the seat between us, squeezes once. "We will." Together. The truck disappears into Seattle traffic, leaving Graham Sutton's estate and its false elegance behind. In 72 hours, we'll face a tribunal that could destroy us both. But tonight, we have proof. Tonight, we have hope. Tonight, we have a chance to save the women Graham Sutton thought the world would never miss. Chapter 5. Before the storm. The cabin is hidden deep in the Cascade Mountains, accessible only by a dirt road that hasn't seen maintenance in years. It belonged to Declan's mother, he tells me during the 2-hour drive from Seattle. She died when he was 19, left him this property that's not registered under Pack Holdings, or his company name. Off the grid, untraceable, the kind of place where you go when the world is hunting you. Inside, it's sparse but functional. Wood-burning stove, a generator for electricity, shelves stocked with non-perishables. Connor and Ivy arrive an hour after us in a separate vehicle, bringing supplies and 2 additional pack members, Jackson Vale and Nora Quinn. Both betas, both fighters, both sworn to secrecy. We spread Graham's stolen documents across the cabin's main table as night settles over the mountains. The evidence is damning, worse than even I imagined. Project Lycan isn't just about creating a serum that gives humans shifter abilities. It's about weaponizing us, breaking down what makes us different, selling it to the highest bidder. Genetech Solutions, Connor reads from a financial spreadsheet, has received $50 million in contracts from 3 different private military corporations. All payments went through shell companies, but I traced them back. Blackridge International, Sentinel Group, Iron Wolf Security. Mercenaries, Jackson says. He's tall, scarred, speaks with the precision of someone who's seen too much combat. These aren't legitimate defense contractors. They're hired guns for foreign governments and criminal organizations. Nora leans over the facility blueprints, red hair falling across her face. The Idaho installation has military-grade security. 12 guards rotating in 8-hour shifts, electronic surveillance, perimeter fencing with motion sensors. Getting in will be hard. Getting out with 9 traumatized prisoners will be nearly impossible. Not impossible, Declan corrects, voice flat. Just difficult. He's been different since we left Graham's estate. Colder, somehow. More controlled. I recognize it from my ER training. Someone holding themselves together through pure will because falling apart isn't an option. Ivy catches my eye, tilts her head toward the door. I follow her outside onto the porch where the air is sharp with pine and approaching winter. Stars scatter across the sky, more visible here than anywhere near the city, indifferent to the horrors humans and shifters commit below. He hasn't slept, Ivy says quietly. Not really. Not in 5 years. Since Lily disappeared. He blames himself, thinks he should have seen the danger, should have protected her better. She wraps her arms around herself against the cold. When Graham said she ran away with some human, Declan knew it was a lie, but without proof, without a body, there was nothing he could do. He's been searching ever since, following every lead, investigating every whisper. It's consumed him. I think about the way he looked at Lily's file, the clinical description of her as Subject 04, viable for prolonged extraction, 5 years of torture while her brother searched in the wrong places. If she's alive, I say, if we get her out, what then? What do 5 years of that do to someone? I don't know. Ivy's voice is small, but at least she'll have a chance to heal. That's more than she has now. Movement inside draws our attention. Through the window, I watch Declan pore over the facility blueprints, marking guard positions, timing rotations, calculating approach vectors. Connor sits across from him, equally focused, while Jackson and Nora discuss equipment needs. He declared you his mate, Ivy says. In front of Graham, in front of witnesses. Do you know what that means? The memory sends heat through me despite the cold. The way Declan's voice dropped to something primal when he said mine. The absolute certainty in it. The way my own wolf responded with recognition that felt older than thought. I felt the bond the moment I saw him at the ceremony. But I don't believe in fate deciding my choices. I've had too many choices taken from me already. He won't force it. Ivy's watching me carefully. Declan understands autonomy better than most. He'll protect you, fight for you. But he won't demand anything you're not willing to give. Why are you telling me this? Because you're going to have to decide what you want. After we rescue those women, after the tribunal, after everything settles, you'll have to choose. And Declan needs to know if the choice you make includes him. The door opens. Declan stands backlit by the cabin's interior light, expression unreadable. We need your medical expertise. Some of these women will require immediate care when we extract them. I follow him back inside, grateful for the distraction. The others have arranged medical reports from the stolen files, each document more horrifying than the last. Systematic extraction procedures, pain threshold tests, notes about which subjects are most compliant after conditioning. This one, I point to Subject 009, has been in septic shock twice according to these records. If she's still alive, she'll need IV antibiotics immediately, probably surgical intervention for infection. This one, Subject 006, has documented respiratory damage from chemical exposure. She'll need oxygen support during transport. I continue through the files, making notes about what medical supplies we'll need, what emergency protocols to follow. It helps, focusing on the practical, the clinical, the things I can control. Connor's phone buzzes. He checks it, face darkening. Intercepted communication from Graham. He's moving high-value subjects to a secondary location in 48 hours. That includes Lily and 3 others. The room goes silent. 48 hours means we can't wait for the tribunal, can't build a case through official channels. We have to move now. We go tomorrow night, Declan says, and there's no room for argument in his voice. 24 hours to finalize the plan, gather equipment, position ourselves. Jackson, Nora, you're on tactical support. Connor handles communications and tech. Ivy, you're with me on primary infiltration. Jules, he looks at me. You stay back with the vehicles, ready to provide medical care when we bring them out. No, the word comes before I can think better of it. I'm going in with you. You're not trained for combat insertion. I'm trained to save lives, and those women will need immediate medical assessment. You can't carry 9 traumatized prisoners and guess which ones are critical. You need me in there. Declan's jaw tightens, the alpha in him warring with whatever else he feels for me. It's too dangerous. Everything about this is dangerous. I meet his gaze, refusing to back down. I didn't run from that ceremony just to hide while other people risk themselves. I'm going in. For a long moment, he just stares at me, and I can see the calculation behind his eyes. Risk versus necessity, protection versus practicality. Finally, he nods once, sharp. You stay with Ivy. You don't engage hostiles. The second things go wrong, you get out. Understood? Understood. The planning continues for hours. Guard rotations, entry points, contingency plans for when, not if, things go sideways. By the time Connor and Jackson leave to gather equipment from Declan's corporate warehouse, it's past midnight. Ivy and Nora retire to one of the cabin's small bedrooms. Connor will sleep in his vehicle, maintaining perimeter watch. That leaves me and Declan in the main room, documents still scattered across the table, a fire burning low in the stove. You should rest, he says, not looking at me. Tomorrow will be demanding. So should you. I can't. He finally turns, and the exhaustion in his face is stark. Every time I close my eyes, I see her. Lily, wondering if she's cold, if she's scared, if she knows I never stopped looking. I cross the distance between us, stop just close enough to feel the heat radiating from his body. You didn't fail her. You couldn't have known what Graham was. I should have. His voice cracks. I'm her brother. I'm supposed to protect her. Instead, she spent 5 years in hell while I chased ghosts and dead ends. You're going to get her back. Tomorrow night, you're going to walk into that facility and bring her home. And if we're too late, if the transfer happens before we get there, if she's already... I take his hand, the one with the protection runes tattooed across his forearm. Then we hunt them to the ends of the earth, but we don't give up. Not now. Not when we're this close. His fingers close around mine, grip almost painful in its intensity. Why are you doing this? You could have run, disappeared into human society where Graham would never find you. Instead, you're risking everything to save people you don't even know. Because those women are me if things had gone differently. Because that dying woman in my ER trusted me with her last breath. Because I stop, the truth catching in my throat. Because you never gave up on your sister. Even when everyone else said she was gone, you kept looking. That kind of love means something. It means everything. He pulls me closer, slowly, giving me time to retreat. I don't. His free hand comes up to cut my face, thumb brushing across my cheekbone with devastating gentleness. I felt the mate bond the moment you shifted. He says quietly, my wolf claimed you before my mind could process what was happening. But I don't want you because of destiny or biology. I want you because you're brave enough to destroy a ceremony in front of 3 packs. Because you broke into an alpha's office to steal evidence. Because you're standing here planning to invade a fortified facility to save strangers. Declan, I know you need to finish this first. I know you need to stand on your own before you can stand beside anyone else. I understand that. But when this is over, when those women are safe and Graham is destroyed, I'm going to ask you to stay. And I need you to know that whatever you choose, it won't change what you mean to me. The words hit me harder than any physical blow. Choice. He's offering me choice. The one thing I've been denied since my father died. Ask me after. I whisper, When we're not standing on the edge of a war. When we've brought those women home. Ask me then. I will. We stand like that for a moment longer, two people bound by chemistry and circumstance, neither willing to take the final step until the chaos around us settles. Then Connor's voice crackles through the radio. Perimeter alert. Vehicle approaching. Single occupant moving fast. Declan releases me, instantly alert, moving to the window. Headlights cut through the darkness. A truck taking the rough road faster than safe. It skids to a stop in the clearing, and a figure emerges. Ivy appears from the bedroom, weapon drawn. That's a Harlow Creek vehicle. The figure staggers toward the cabin, and as they get closer, I recognize the face. Marcus, one of my father's old betas, loyal to him before Raymond took over. Declan opens the door, and Marcus practically falls through it, blood staining his shirt, face battered. "You have to move up the timeline," he gasps. "Graham knows you're planning something. He's transferring the subjects tonight, not tomorrow. If you're going to save them, you have less than 12 hours. The room crystallizes into sharp focus. 12 hours. Not the 24 we planned for, not the careful preparation we needed. 12 hours to pull off a rescue that could save 9 lives or get us all killed. Declan's voice cuts through the shock. Get Connor and Jackson back here now. Full gear, combat ready. We leave in 2 hours. Everyone moves at once. Chaos controlled by purpose. I grab my medical kit, checking supplies, making mental lists of what I'll need, how to triage 9 patients in hostile territory with limited resources. Declan stops beside me, his hand finding mine one more time. Together, he says, and it sounds like a promise. Together, I agree. Outside, the night waits. Somewhere in Idaho, 9 women wait too, not knowing that rescue is coming, that people who refuse to forget them are about to walk through fire to bring them home. We have 12 hours. We have evidence that could destroy a senator. We have a mate bond forged in rebellion and desperation. And we have absolutely nothing left to lose. Chapter 6. Blood and Fire. The Genetech facility squats in rural Idaho darkness like a predator, all concrete and steel and chain-link fencing. We watch from a ridgeline 200 yards out, using night vision scopes to map guard positions. 11 p.m., and the facility is lit up brighter than it should be, more guards visible than the blueprints indicated. They knew we were coming, Connor murmurs from his position beside me. Security's been doubled. Declan's jaw tightens, visible even in the dim light reflecting off snow. Doesn't matter. We're not leaving without them. Our team is 6 strong. Declan, me, Connor, Ivy, Jackson, and Nora. 2 vans wait a mile back on the access road, engines warm, ready for fast extraction. The plan was surgical insertion, minimal contact. Now it looks more like a frontal assault. Connor, Jackson, you're on power and communications. Declan's voice is pure alpha command, calm under pressure. 30-second blackout, then loop the security feeds. Ivy, Nora, distraction at the front entrance. Make it loud, make them respond. Jules and I go through the side, straight to the medical wing. My medical kit is strapped to my back, heavy with supplies. IV antibiotics, emergency surgical equipment, sedatives for those too traumatized to move quietly. I've treated gunshot wounds, overdoses, traumas that should have been fatal, but I've never walked into hostile territory knowing people will try to kill me. Declan's hand finds my shoulder, squeezes once. Stay close, stay behind me. Anything happens, you run. Promise me. We both get out. I counter. Or neither of us does. His eyes flash with something between frustration and fierce pride. But he nods. We move down the ridge, using terrain for cover, approaching the facility's southern perimeter. The fence is 8 feet of chain link topped with barbed wire. Motion sensors every 20 feet. Connor's voice crackles through our earpieces. Cutting power in 3, 2, 1. The facility plunges into darkness. Emergency lights kick on immediately. But there's a gap. 3 seconds where shadows deepen and systems reboot. Jackson cuts through the fence with industrial shears that slice metal like paper. We're through. An explosion rocks the front of the building. Ivy's distraction. A controlled blast that sounds catastrophic but causes minimal real damage. Shouts echo. Guards mobilizing. We use the chaos, running low across open ground to a service entrance. Declan tears the door off its hinges with bare alpha strength, and we're inside. The interior is sterile, fluorescent lights humming overhead, hallways lined with doors marked with codes and numbers. We follow the blueprint memorized during planning. Straight corridor, left turn, stairs descending to the medical wing. 2 guards appear ahead, armed with automatic rifles. Declan shifts partially, faster than thought, his form blurring as bone and muscle reshape. He takes them both down before they can fire, movements brutal and efficient. I step over unconscious bodies, try not to think about how easily he disabled men with military training. The stairwell descends into colder air, chemical scents mixing with something worse, the smell of pain, of fear, of bodies pushed beyond limits. My stomach turns, but I force myself forward. At the bottom, a security door blocks access, keycard reader glowing red. "Connor," Declan says into his comm, "we're at the medical wing entrance. Need access." "Working on it. Their system's more encrypted than expected. Give me 30 seconds. We don't have 30 seconds. Footsteps echo from above, more guards responding. Declan positions himself at the stairwell entrance, ready to hold them off. The door clicks. Green light. I yank it open, and we plunge into the medical wing. The space opens into a nightmare dressed as a laboratory. White walls, exam tables with restraints, cabinets full of instruments that belong in horror films. And beyond, a corridor lined with reinforced glass cells. 9 women in various states of trauma, 3 in wolf form, pacing restlessly, unable or unwilling to shift back. 2 sitting catatonic, eyes empty. 4, conscious but weak, watching us with expressions caught between hope and terror. I run to the first cell, yank on the door. Locked, electronic mechanism. "Connor, I need these cells opened. All of them." "On it. 10 seconds. Declan moves to the 4th cell, stops, goes completely still. Inside, a woman with dark hair and eyes like winter ice looks up. She's too thin, arms marked with needle scars, but the resemblance to Declan is unmistakable. "Lily?" His voice breaks on her name. She doesn't react, just stares. Then her eyes focus, really focus, and confusion floods her face. "No. This is another test. He does this. Makes me see things." "Lily, look at me." Declan presses his hand against the glass, and I see his arm. The tattoo of protection runes clearly visible. "Remember when you were 7 and broke Mom's favorite vase? You blame the dog. But we didn't have a dog. I covered for you. Told Mom it was me." Something breaks in her expression. Recognition, then disbelief. Then a sob that sounds torn from somewhere deep and damaged. "Deck? Oh God, Deck, is it really?" The cells unlock simultaneously. Electromagnetic locks disengaging. I'm already moving, entering the nearest cell where a woman is clearly septic, skin hot with fever, infection spreading from poorly healed wounds. I jam an IV into her arm, hang the antibiotic bag from a hook I improvise from a cabinet handle. Declan's holding his sister, her body shaking with sobs against his chest. But we don't have time for reunions. More footsteps. Closer now. Gunfire echoes from above. Connor and Jackson engaging the guards flooding the building. "We need to move," I say, already assessing the other women. 2 are stable enough to walk. 3 need support. 1 is unconscious. The septic patient needs to be carried. The 3 in wolf form are wild-eyed, unpredictable. Ivy's voice cuts through the comm. "Primary entrance is compromised. They're bringing in reinforcements. You have maybe 5 minutes before this place is swarming." A figure appears in the medical wing entrance. Graham Sutton, flanked by 6 heavily armed men, a mix of shifters and human mercenaries. His face is a mask of cold fury. The civilized senator veneer completely stripped away. "You should have stayed away, Frost. Now you're just another problem to dispose of." Declan positions himself between Graham and the cells, between the predator and his prey. "These women aren't your property. They're not subjects. They're people. They're resources." Graham's smile is terrible. "And you're trespassing on private property. In human law, I'm well within my rights to use lethal force. He nods. The mercenaries raise their weapons. Everything happens at once. Declan shifts fully, his wolf form massive and black in the fluorescent light. He hits the first mercenary before the man can fire, claws tearing through Kevlar. Jackson and Connor burst into the wing from behind Graham's forces, catching them in a crossfire. Nora appears with one of the women slung over her shoulder, already evacuating. I grab the septic patient, try to lift her. Too heavy, too weak. Lily staggers over, helps me, her hands shaking but determined. Together we get the woman moving toward the exit. Graham transforms partially, engaging Declan in the kind of fight that ends in death. They're matched in size, but Graham fights with the desperation of someone whose empire is crumbling. He goes for Declan's throat, lands a hit that draws blood. Declan retaliates, claws raking across Graham's ribs. "Jules, get them out!" Declan's command cuts through chaos. "Now!" I want to argue, want to stay, want to help him, but 9 women need me more than he does right now. I grab another patient, guide her toward the exit where Ivy waits. The wolf form women follow, some instinct making them trust us over their captors. A mercenary blocks my path, rifle raised. I do what I was trained not to do in hospitals. I attack. Medical training gives me anatomical knowledge most people don't have. I go for the pressure point in his neck, hit it hard enough to drop him. He crumples, and I keep moving. The corridor is chaos. Smoke from an earlier explosion, the acrid smell of gunfire, people running in both directions. Connor's voice guides us through. East exit, 50 feet, vans waiting. We emerge into cold Idaho night, stars overhead indifferent to the violence below. The van's door slides open, Nora at the wheel, engine running. I start loading patients, doing rapid triage as they pile in. The septic one first, then the 2 catatonics, then the mobile ones. Lily refuses to get in. Not without my brother. An explosion rocks the building's interior, flames visible through windows. Declan and Graham crash through a side door, still locked in combat. Both are bleeding, both partially shifted, both beyond reason now. I see what's about to happen before it does. Graham has a knife, silver-bladed, the kind that burns shifter flesh. He's positioning for a killing strike. I grab the emergency flare from the van's equipment, tear off the cap, throw it. The chemical reaction creates a blinding light, magnesium hot, directly between the combatants. Graham jerks back, temporarily blinded. Declan uses the opening. One devastating strike that breaks Graham's arm, sends the knife spinning away. Connor and Jackson emerge from the building, the latter carrying an unconscious woman. Building's compromised. Charges we set for distraction are going to blow the chemical lab any second. "Go!" Declan roars, tackling Graham one more time, pinning him. He produces zip ties, military-grade restraints, binds Graham's wrists with brutal efficiency. We're taking him with us. The building erupts. Not a Hollywood explosion, but a chemical fire that turns windows into showers of glass, that sends toxic smoke billowing into the night sky. Fire spreads fast, consuming records, equipment, evidence of horrors. We pile into the vans, 9 freed women, Graham bound and unconscious, 6 rescuers battered but alive. Nora drives while I work in the back, establishing IV lines, monitoring vitals, doing rapid assessments. The septic woman is critical, needs a hospital within hours. The others are stable but traumatized beyond measure. Lily sits next to Declan, clinging to his hand, occasionally touching his face as if confirming he's real. He's bleeding from a dozen wounds, probably has cracked ribs, but his eyes never leave his sister. "You came," she whispers again. "You actually came. I never stopped looking," he tells her, voice raw. Not for a day. Not for an hour. Never. Behind us, sirens wail. Fire department. Probably police. By the time they arrive, we'll be gone. Disappearing into Idaho darkness with proof of Graham's crimes and the women he tortured. Hours later, as the van sped into darkness, the adrenaline faded. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. I'd seen trauma before, but never like this. These weren't patients. They were reminders of what I almost became. My phone buzzes. A message from an unknown number. Magistrata Vivian Cross has called an emergency tribunal. You are summoned to appear in 12 hours. Failure to comply will result in declaration of rogue status and authorized termination. Come prepared to answer for your crimes. I show Declan. He reads it, nods once. We'll be there, and we'll have everything we need to burn him down. Graham stirs in the corner, wrists bound, face twisted with rage and pain. You think you've won? I have allies, lawyers, political connections. You'll never make this stick. We have 9 witnesses, I say quietly, meeting his gaze. We have documentation. We have your facility burning behind us with enough forensic evidence to fill a warehouse. And we have 12 hours to make sure the entire supernatural world knows exactly what you are. His expression shifts, certainty cracking. For the first time, Graham Sutton looks afraid. The van speeds through the night, carrying broken women toward freedom, carrying a monster toward justice, carrying all of us toward a tribunal that will determine if we're heroes or criminals. In 12 hours, we'll stand before alphas and answer for what we've done. We'll either change everything or lose it all. But tonight, 9 women sleep free for the first time in years. Tonight, Declan's sister is back in his arms. Tonight, we won. Tomorrow, we face the consequences. Chapter 7. Judgment. The Magistrata's Grove is ancient, older than any pack territory, older than the laws we're about to be judged under. Massive trees form a natural cathedral, their roots twisted through earth that has witnessed centuries of shifter justice. Morning light filters through branches, painting everything in shades of gold and shadow that feel appropriate for what's about to happen. 5 alphas stand in a semicircle around a raised stone platform. I recognize Raymond immediately, looking diminished and nervous. When confronted, he stammered, "I didn't know what Graham planned," his voice trembling. "It was supposed to be political, just an alliance. I never agreed to this." Beside him, 3 other regional alphas I've seen at gatherings, 2 wearing carefully neutral expressions, one clearly allied with Graham based on how he keeps glancing at where Graham sits bound in silver restraints. The 5th presence makes everyone else fade to background noise. Aldred Thorne, emissary of the Alpha King, stands with the kind of authority that makes even alphas lower their eyes. He's maybe 60, gray-haired, but the power radiating from him suggests something far older. When he speaks, his voice carries without effort. This tribunal convenes under authority of the Alpha King to address multiple grave accusations: invasion of territory, destruction of property, assault on an alpha, and potential violation of the veil. His gaze sweeps across everyone present. Speak truth here, or face the king's wrath. Magistrata Vivian Cross presides over the proceedings, ancient and impartial, her expression carved from years of watching shifter politics destroy lives. She gestures to Graham, who's escorted forward by 2 neutral guards. Despite his restraints, despite the bruises darkening his face from last night's fight, he maintains his senator's composure. "Alpha Graham Sutton, you have accused Declan Frost of multiple violations. State your case." Graham's voice cracked under pressure, his senator's polish fracturing. "You think this will stick? You're all fools if you believe this circus changes anything. I built this system. You live under it." Graham's voice is steady, practiced, the tone he uses when addressing legislative committees. "Declan Frost invaded my private property during a business reception, assaulted me in my own office, and destroyed valuable documents. He then led an illegal raid on a legitimate pharmaceutical research facility in Idaho, resulting in arson, assault on security personnel, and kidnapping of employees." He looks directly at Declan. His actions were motivated by jealousy over a failed mating ceremony and personal vendetta. "Those aren't employees," Declan says, voice like stone. "They're prisoners. Victims of medical torture conducted over 5 years. Graham's expression doesn't change. Baseless accusations from a man who violated neutrality, broke into secured facilities, and endangered the veil by involving human authorities. Then let's discuss evidence, Declan says. Connor steps forward, carrying a laptop. Within seconds, the screen projects onto a sheet strung between trees. Graham's stolen files, photographs of documentation, clinical reports describing years of torture. The clearing goes silent as image after image displays. 12 women, their photos, their designation as subjects rather than people. Extraction procedures detailed with clinical precision. Financial records showing $50 million in payments from military contractors for experimental serums derived from shifter genetics. These documents were stolen from my private office. Graham protests. Obtained illegally, they're inadmissible as evidence. They're also true, a voice says from the gathered witnesses. Lily steps forward, Declan trying to stop her, but she shakes her head. She's cleaned up from last night, wearing borrowed clothes. But the marks of 5 years' captivity are visible in how thin she is, how her hands shake, how her eyes don't quite focus right. My name is Lily Frost. 5 years ago, I attended a political summit in Sutton Ridge Territory. Graham Sutton drugged my drink, and I woke up in a cell in Idaho. Her voice trembles but doesn't break. For 5 years, they took blood samples, bone marrow, tissue. They tested how much pain shifters could endure. They tried to isolate what makes us different, to weaponize it. Graham's carefully constructed composure cracks slightly. She's been coached, probably suffering from delusions after running away and living rough for years. I was subject 004, Lily continues, voice growing stronger. There were 11 others. 3 died during the procedures. Their bodies were disposed of in ways that made it look like accidents. The rest of us were kept alive because our genetics were compatible with the serum they were developing. 2 other women stepped forward, both rescued last night, both looking terrified but determined. They speak, their testimonies overlapping, corroborating every detail. 5 years of horror, of systematic torture, of being treated as resources instead of people. The Alpha's expressions shift as they listen. Even Raymond looks sick, probably realizing how close he came to sending me to the same fate. Aldred Thorne's eyes never leave Graham. You claim these women are lying? I claim they're mistaken about who's responsible. GeneTech Solutions is an independent company. If illegal activities occurred there, I had no knowledge. You own GeneTech Solutions. Connor pulls up corporate records. Through 3 shell companies, but the paper trail leads directly to you. You're listed as primary shareholder and final authority on all research decisions. Graham's lawyer-trained mind works fast. Owning shares doesn't mean direct involvement in day-to-day operations. I'm a state senator. I have dozens of investments. You were at the facility last night. I interrupt, stepping forward. You arrived with armed mercenaries. You ordered them to kill us. You fought Declan personally, rather than let those women go free. That's not the behavior of someone with no knowledge of illegal activities. His amber eyes lock on me, and I see the calculation there. The politician weighing options. I received reports of an attack on my property. I responded appropriately to defend my assets. You called them resources. Declan says quietly. In your office, you said they were resources, not people. Hearsay. No evidence supports. Actually, Connor interrupts, holding up a small device. I was wearing a wire. Everything said in that office is recorded, including you threatening to make Jules Subject 13. The recording plays. Graham's voice, clear and undeniable, discussing the women as property, describing experimental procedures, threatening further torture. In the silence that follows, even the forest seems to hold its breath. One of the neutral alphas speaks, an older man named Marcus Steele. The evidence is substantial, but we must address the accusation of veil violation. The Idaho facility's destruction involved human emergency services. Federal authorities are investigating. This brings risk of exposure. The facility was already a veil violation, Ivy counters, stepping forward. Graham was selling shifter genetics to human military contractors. He was experimenting with ways to give humans our abilities. If that research had succeeded, if those serums had been deployed, the entire supernatural world would have been exposed. Aldred Thorne finally speaks, his voice carrying weight that makes everyone straighten. The Alpha King has been aware of suspicious activity in this region for 4 months. Disappearances of young female shifters, deaths that followed patterns inconsistent with natural causes. An investigation was initiated, but it was systematically obstructed. He looks at 3 of the assembled alphas, by those who received financial incentives to look the other way. The implications hang heavy. Raymond shifts uncomfortably. The Alpha allied with Graham goes pale. The King's investigation was stalled until Juliet Harlow fled her mating ceremony. Aldred continues. Her actions, and Declan Frost's decision to protect her, broke open a conspiracy that involved multiple packs and threatened the security of all shifters. They accelerated justice that should have come years ago. Graham sees his support crumbling. This is politics. They're making me a scapegoat for... You tortured 12 women. Lily's voice cuts through his words. You killed 3 of them. You sold our genetics to humans for profit. Stop pretending you're a victim. Magistrata Vivian raises her hand for silence. This tribunal must render judgment. Alpha Graham Sutton, you are accused of trafficking, torture, murder, treason against the shifter community, and violation of the veil. How do you answer? For a long moment, Graham says nothing. Then something shifts in his expression. The civilized mask finally falling away completely. I answer that I saw an opportunity and took it. Our kind has power humans would kill for, and we waste it hiding, pretending to be like them. I was building something revolutionary. A way to monetize what makes us special, to gain influence in the human world that would have protected all of us eventually. You were torturing innocent women. Declan's voice is lethal quiet. I was advancing science. There are always casualties in progress. Graham looks around the clearing. And yes, I have allies. Alphas who shared my vision, who took payment to stay silent. You think destroying me will end it? The research continues. Others carry the work forward. Aldred's expression doesn't change, but power rolls off him in waves that make my wolf want to submit. Name them. I'll name no one. You'll have to find them yourselves. Graham smiles, and it's the expression of someone who's already lost, but plans to take others down with him. Good luck sorting traitors from patriots. The magistrata looks to Aldred. Your judgment, emissary. Graham Sutton is guilty of all charges. Sentence: permanent imprisonment in the Alpha King's containment facility. All territories and assets seized. All pack affiliations severed. Aldred's voice carries finality. As for those who aided him, investigation will continue. Any Alpha found complicit will face the same fate. 3 of the assembled Alphas look sick. Raymond has gone completely gray. Declan Frost. Aldred turns to him. You violated neutrality, destroyed property, and engaged in vigilante justice outside official channels. However, your actions prevented continued atrocities and exposed corruption that threatened the supernatural community. You are cleared of all charges and recognized officially as protector of the Northwestern Territory. Relief floods through me so strongly I almost stagger. Declan's hand finds mine, squeezes. Juliet Harlow, the magistrata says. The mating ceremony between you and Graham Sutton is declared null, invalidated by fraud and coercion. You are free of all bonds. And her uncle? Lily asks, looking at Raymond. He sold her knowing what Graham was. He took money in exchange for his niece's torture. Raymond steps forward, visibly trembling. I didn't know. I swear. I didn't know the full extent. You knew enough, I say quietly. The emails I photographed proved you knew about deaths, about suspicious activity. You knew and you sold me anyway. Aldred's gaze falls on Raymond with the weight of judgment. Raymond Harlow, you are found guilty of conspiracy and criminal negligence. You are stripped of Alpha status and exiled from Harlow Creek territory. Your pack requires new leadership. The magistrata looks at me. By blood, you have claim to leadership. Do you accept? Every eye turns to me. I could take it, could become Alpha of my father's pack, could reclaim what was stolen. But I think about the last weeks, about running for my life, about finding strength in choosing my own path, rather than following the one laid out for me. I refuse. I say clearly. I'm not my father. The pack deserves someone who wants to lead them, not someone doing it out of obligation. I look at Ivy. I suggest Ivy Frost as liaison between Frost Peak and Harlow Creek. Let the packs merge under Declan's leadership, with Ivy helping to facilitate transition. Murmurs run through the assembled wolves. It's unconventional, but not unprecedented. After a moment, the Harlow Creek pack members present nod agreement. They've seen what Raymond's leadership brought them. The tribunal concludes as the sun reaches its zenith, light flooding the clearing. Graham is led away in silver restraints, his political career destroyed, his empire crumbling. Raymond leaves alone, stripped of everything he stole. The three complicit alphas depart, knowing investigation will follow them home. Declan and I stand among the witnesses, Lily beside us, 8 other women watching with expressions that mix relief and trauma. They're free, but freedom doesn't erase 5 years of torture. Healing will take time, therapy, support they'll need for possibly the rest of their lives. But they're alive. They're safe. And the man who hurt them will never hurt anyone again. Aldred approaches us as the clearing empties. The Alpha King is pleased with how you handled this. When you uncovered corruption others missed, when you put justice above politics, that matters. The king remembers such things. He leaves, and we're alone with our pack, with rescued women, with the weight of what we've survived. Declan looks at me, and I see everything in his eyes. What happens now? I squeeze his hand, feeling the mate bond pulse between us, no longer fighting it. Now we help them heal, I say, gesturing to Lily and the others. Now we rebuild. Now we live. Together? He asks. And there's vulnerability in it. Hope and fear mixed. Together. I agree. If you're ready for a mate who'll argue with every decision and probably cause more trouble. His smile is the first real one I've seen since this all began. I'm counting on it. Behind us, 9 women who were prisoners yesterday stand in sunlight, breathing free air. Justice has been served. Truth has been told. And maybe, just maybe, we can start healing now. Chapter 8. Coming home. 3 weeks pass before I make the drive. 21 days of returning to my apartment in Seattle, sleeping in my own bed, working overnight shifts at the hospital where Dr. Owen keeps asking if I'm okay because apparently I seem different. More confident, he says. Like I found something I was looking for. I save a child's life on a Tuesday. 8 years old. Cardiac arrest. Parents screaming in the waiting room while I do compressions. Counting rhythm. Refusing to let this kid die. When his heart starts again. When those small lungs fill with air, and he opens his eyes confused and alive. Something clicks into place. I've spent my whole life reacting to my father's death, to Raymond's control, to Graham's threats. Even running from the ceremony was a reaction. Necessary, but still driven by fear rather than choice. And avoiding Declan these past 3 weeks, telling myself I need space to figure out what I want. That's a reaction too. Fear dressed up as independence. True choice isn't running away from things. It's running toward them. I finish my shift, go home, shower off 12 hours of emergency room chaos. Then I pick up my phone and call the hospital administrator. I need to request a schedule change. 3 days a week instead of 5, with the option to take occasional leaves for personal projects. There's a pause. That's a significant reduction in hours, Jules. Can I ask why? I'm opening a clinic. Free care for underserved populations in rural areas. I'll still work here, but I need time for the other project. Another pause. Then a sigh that sounds approving. You're one of our best nurses. If part-time keeps you on staff, I'll make it work. When do you want this to start? 2 weeks. I hang up and start packing. Not everything. Just enough for an extended stay. Clothes, medical textbooks, the photograph of my father I've kept on my nightstand since he died. I load my car as the sun sets over Seattle, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple that feel appropriate for endings and beginnings happening simultaneously. The drive to Frost Peak territory takes 6 hours through mountain passes that grow progressively more remote. I've made this drive once before, fleeing for my life. Tonight I'm driving toward something instead of away from it. It's nearly midnight when I pull up to the pack's main property. The house is beautiful in moonlight, all wood and stone, built into the landscape rather than imposed upon it. Lights glow in windows, and I can see figures moving inside. Pack members doing whatever pack members do on Friday nights when they're not fighting wars or exposing conspiracies. I sit in my car for a full minute, heart hammering, second-guessing everything. What if he's moved on? What if these 3 weeks of silence made him realize the mate bond isn't enough? What if... The front door opens. Declan stands backlit, And even from 50 feet away, I feel it. That pull, that recognition, that bone-deep certainty that has nothing to do with fate and everything to do with choice. He's down the steps before I've fully exited the car, moving with the controlled grace of a predator. Except there's nothing predatory in his expression, just hope, careful and guarded, like he's afraid to believe I'm actually here. We stop 3 feet apart, close enough to touch, far enough that closing the distance requires intention. "You came," he says, and his voice holds wonder. "I did." My hands are shaking, so I shove them in my jacket pockets. I've been thinking, a lot, about choices, about running, about what I actually want, instead of what I'm afraid of. He watches me with those winter ice eyes, patient, waiting. "You said when this was over, when those women were safe and Graham was destroyed, you'd ask me to stay." I take a breath. "So I'm here, to answer before you ask. Jules, I ran from that ceremony because I didn't want to be powerless, because I needed to know I could stand on my own, make my own decisions, survive without someone else defining who I am." The words come faster now. 3 weeks of thinking crystallizing into clarity. And I did. I broke into an alpha's office. I helped expose a conspiracy. I saved 9 women from torture. I proved to myself that I'm not helpless, not someone who needs saving. "You never were," Declan says quietly. "I know that now. But I needed to know it then." I pull my hands from my pockets, close the distance between us. The mate bond. The pull I felt when I first saw you. That terrified me, because it felt like destiny taking away my choice. But here's what I figured out. The bond is just biology. It's chemistry and instinct, and ancient wolf magic. What matters is what I choose to do about it. And what do you choose? I reach up, touch his face, feel the roughness of stubble, the warmth of skin. I choose you. Not because some cosmic force decided we're mates, but because you respected my autonomy when you could have demanded submission. Because you helped me fight when you could have stayed neutral. Because you looked at me like I was strong instead of broken. My voice catches. Because when I think about building a life, about waking up every morning and facing whatever comes, I want to do that with you. Something breaks in his expression. Careful control giving way to raw emotion. I've been going insane for 3 weeks. Giving you space, respecting your need to figure things out. But every day wondering if you'd decide you were better off without me. I'm not better off without you. I'm just different. And different doesn't mean less. I smile, feeling tears prick my eyes. I got a part-time schedule at the hospital, 3 days a week. The other 4, I'm opening a clinic in PAC territory. Free care for shifters who can't access human hospitals without exposure risk. I figure Frost Peak could use a permanent medical presence. His hands come up to frame my face, touch gentle despite the strength I know he possesses. "You're staying. You're actually staying. I'm staying. If you still want..." He kisses me before I can finish. And it's nothing like the careful restraint we've maintained for weeks. It's desperate and claiming, and 5 weeks of tension finally breaking. I kiss him back just as fiercely, hands fisting in his shirt, pulling him closer until there's no space left between us. When we break apart, both breathing hard, he rests his forehead against mine. "I want you, every day. Every version of you, every argument and every triumph. I want all of it." Good. I'm crying now. Relief and joy, and something that feels suspiciously like coming home. Because I'm difficult and stubborn, and I'll probably make your life complicated. I'm counting on it. He pulls back enough to look at me properly. "The mating bond. Do you want to complete it? Officially, I mean. It doesn't have to be now. Doesn't have to be." "Yes," I interrupt. "But not like the ceremony Graham tried to force. Something private. Just us and whoever we choose to witness. Something that's ours." His smile is brilliant. "Tomorrow night, under the full moon. Connor and Ivy as witnesses, no politics, no pack posturing. Just us choosing each other." Perfect. Movement from the house draws my attention. Lily stands in the doorway, watching us with an expression caught between happiness and something more complex. She's gained weight in 3 weeks, looks healthier, but the shadows in her eyes remain. Trauma doesn't disappear in 21 days. "Hey," she calls out. "You going to stand in the driveway all night, or are you coming inside?" Declan laughs, the sound lighter than I've heard from him. "Coming inside." He looks at me. "You hungry? We just finished dinner, but there's plenty left." "Starving, actually." He takes my hand and we walk toward the house together. Inside, it's warm and lived in. Pack members scattered through rooms, doing dishes, watching television, existing in the comfortable chaos of family. Some faces I recognize from the rescue. Jackson playing cards with Nora, both looking relaxed in ways they couldn't while planning an assault. Others are new, pack members I'll learn to know. Connor appears from the kitchen, takes one look at us, and grins. Finally. "Ivy owes me $50. I bet you'd crack first and drive up here." "You bet on me?" I ask, not sure whether to be offended or amused. "We all did. Ivy thought Declan would drive to Seattle. I had faith in your impatience." He tosses a dish towel at Declan. "Welcome home, Jules. Try not to let him get too bossy. His ego's been insufferable since the tribunal." "My ego is appropriately sized," Declan protests. "You got officially declared protector of the Northwestern Territory. Your head barely fits through doors now." Their banter is easy, familiar, the kind that comes from years of friendship and trust. Lily joins in, making fun of her brother with the privilege of siblings. I watch them, feeling something settle in my chest that I haven't felt since my father died. Belonging. Pack. Home. Later, after food and conversation and Ivy threatening to actually collect her $50, Declan walks me to a room on the 2nd floor. This was going to be storage, but I had it converted. "If you're staying, you'll need your own space. At least until..." He stops, looking uncertain. "I mean, there's no pressure to share rooms, to rush anything. We can take this however slow you need." I look at the room he's prepared. Clean, furnished, windows facing east to catch morning light. Then I look at him, this alpha who's given me nothing but choices since the moment he found me in that cabin. "Show me your room," I say. His eyes darken with heat and hope. "You sure?" "I'm sure about you. About us. About choosing this." I take his hand. "Show me where you sleep, Declan Frost. Because that's where I want to be." He does. And later, wrapped in his arms, his heartbeat steady beneath my ear, I think about the path that led here. The fear, the running, the fighting, the choice to turn around and come back. Outside, the moon rises full and bright, waiting for tomorrow night when we'll stand beneath it and make official what our hearts already know. I ran from one ceremony to find my strength. Tomorrow, I'll walk into another to claim my future. And this time, I'm choosing every single step. The next evening arrives clear and cold. Stars beginning to emerge as twilight paints the sky purple. We gather in a clearing behind the house, just the 4 of us, as planned. No crowds, no politics, no pressure beyond what we bring ourselves. Connor and Ivy stand as witnesses, both wearing expressions that mix happiness with fierce protectiveness. Ivy holds a ceremonial blade, traditional but smaller than the one the magistrata wielded. This one belonged to Declan's mother, he told me earlier. Used when she bound herself to his father 3 decades ago. "There's no script for this," Declan says, taking both my hands in his. No words required by law or tradition. Just us, making a choice. "Then I'll start." I squeeze his hands, feeling the calluses, the strength, the gentleness. "I choose you, Declan Frost. Not because fate decided it, but because you saw me at my most desperate and offered protection without demanding submission. Because you fight for what's right even when it costs you. Because you look at me like I'm strong enough to stand beside you, not behind you." My voice steadies. "I choose partnership over power, autonomy within connection, love built on respect. Every day, I choose you." His eyes are bright with emotion. "I choose you, Jules Harlow. Because you're brave enough to run toward danger to save strangers. Because you demand choice even when destiny calls. Because you challenge me, push me, make me better than I am alone." He smiles. "I choose fierce love over easy comfort, a mate who argues instead of submits, building something together instead of ruling separately. Every day, I choose you. Ivy steps forward with the blade. We each make small cuts on our palms, my right, his left, and press them together. Blood mingles, warm and binding, the physical symbol of a choice made freely. The mate bond, which has been hovering at the edges of my consciousness for weeks, snaps fully into place. It feels like completion, like something I didn't know I was missing suddenly found. I can sense him now, not thoughts exactly, but emotions, presence, the knowledge that wherever he is, we're connected. It's done, Ivy says softly, witnessed and recognized. Congratulations. Connor whistles. Now can we go inside? It's freezing and there's cake. We laugh, breaking the solemnity, and head back toward the house. But Declan pulls me aside, holds me back as the others go ahead. Thank you, he says quietly. For what? For coming back. For choosing this. For being exactly who you are. He kisses me softly. I spent 5 years searching for my sister, convinced I'd failed everyone I loved. Then you ran from that ceremony, and everything changed. You gave me hope, purpose, a future worth building. We gave each other that, I correct. Now let's go build it. We walk into the house together, into warmth and light and family. Lily's there, laughing at something Jackson said, color in her cheeks that wasn't there 3 weeks ago. The other rescued women are scattered throughout the territory now, beginning their own healing journeys, supported by the pack and by the counseling services Declan's company is funding. My clinic will open in 2 months, pending inspection and licensing. I'll split my time between the ER where I trained and this new venture, serving pack members and affiliated shifters who need care outside human systems. Declan's security company is expanding into protection services specifically for vulnerable packs, systems to prevent what Graham did from happening elsewhere. We're building something, not perfect, not without scars, but ours. That night, lying in bed with Declan beside me, mate bond humming between us, I think about the woman who stood in that preparation room 3 weeks ago, terrified and desperate and alone. She would be proud of me now. I ran from captivity and found freedom. I ran from death and found life. I ran from fate and found choice. And I ran toward the one person who understood that coming back wasn't surrender. It was the bravest thing I could do. Outside, wolves run through Frost Peak territory, free and wild and protected. Inside, I'm exactly where I'm meant to be, not because destiny demanded it, but because I chose it. Every single day I choose this, and that makes all the difference.